Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to a new video, and in today's video you saw the topic. We're hanging out here in the newly incorporated city of Mableton, Georgia. I'm gonna do my best to tell you about the area, show you around a little bit, and then we'll get into the pros and cons of living here in the newest city in Cobb County, Mableton, Georgia. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so as I said, we're hanging out here in Mableton, Georgia, which is the newest incorporated city in Cobb County. So fun facts, is actually now the largest city in Cobb County, Georgia. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the city of Mableton. A lot of you guys are probably wondering, where in the world is Mableton, especially if you've never been to Metro Atlanta before. I'm gonna do that in today's video. All right, so as far as location is concerned, Mableton, Georgia is located 14.4 miles to the west of downtown Atlanta, which computes to about 25 minutes of a drive from the downtown Mableton area to downtown Atlanta. So it's super duper accessible in that regard. Mableton, Georgia is located in Cobb County, which is one of the top 11 metropolitan counties here in the area. So it does make up the metropolitan area, all right? All right, guys, so let's talk stats here for Mableton, Georgia. First stat I want to give you is going to be the population, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a caveat or a disclaimer here on this particular statistic. Per a website that I use highly to source population counts, they're showing 41,000+ residents here in Mableton, whereas the Cobb County, I believe she is a county commissioner. She stated in the inaugural of the incorporation of the city council and mayor that Mableton has about 77,000 residents here in the city. So I'm going to give you both of those numbers. All right, so it is what it is. I haven't lined up everybody in Mableton and counted them myself. So I'm giving you both sources that I am aware of. All right. Also, the median age here in Mableton, Georgia comes in at 37 years old, and the household income for the city of Mableton comes in roughly a little over $91,000 per household. Now let's talk about the rent to ownership ratio, which I always cover on my videos. So 72.2% of the residents here in Mableton are homeowners, and 27.8% of the residents are renters. All right, so that is the composition of rent to ownership ratio for the city of Mableton. And it feels so cool saying the city of Mableton. Had I did this video a few months earlier, I could not call it the city of Mableton. I would just call it like the unincorporated town of Mableton. But no, Mableton is rocking a mayor and council members. They got a council member made of 6 members. All right, so it is a truly a city. As I said in the opening, Mableton now, with this incorporation, is the largest city in Cobb County. All right, we're going to talk about that a little bit more in the pros and cons section of what that could potentially mean for the residents of Mableton, Georgia, also for the prosperity and the future of the city of Mableton. So stick around for the pros and cons here later in the video. All right, so let's talk real estate. So the median home listing price here in Mableton came in, according to Realtor.com, at $389,000, which is current as of the month of June. All right, so pretty affordable prices compared to the metropolitan Atlanta average. All right, for a few more stats here about the city of Mableton. The public school system here for the city of Mableton is Cobb County Public School District, which is in my opinion, one of the top 5 here in Metro Atlanta. So pretty decent public school district. The nearest hospital for the city of Mableton, Georgia will be Wellstar Cobb Hospital, located in Austell, which equivalates to about 10 minutes to 12-minute drive from downtown Mableton. So does have adequate hospital access if you are going to be a resident of the city of Mableton. The nearest interstate access here in Mableton, you have 2 options. You have Interstate 285 and you have Interstate 20, okay? So you can go whichever way your heart desires or your destination calls for, okay? So super duper good interstate access. And finally, the airport access comes in at about 23 miles from downtown Mableton, which equals roughly about a 30-minute drive without traffic. So decently accessible by most metropolitan city standards nowadays, right? Traffic is a part of life. I was gonna say a necessity, but it's a part of life in multiple places across the United States. So, but anyway, those are some of the most important stats in my opinion about the city of Mableton. So where I am right now is well, it's a city park, okay? One of the caveats about the new city of Mableton, Georgia is it has been unincorporated for a long time, okay? Since like the 1800s, they had one bout of incorporation from the source of this information is the previous governor, Roy Barnes, and he cited, I believe it was 1911. It was a 4-year stretch. So 1912 to 1916, I believe. But if I'm wrong, I'll link the actual dates in the lower thirds of this video. But essentially, there was an attempt back in the day to incorporate Mableton, but they had to turn the charter back over to Cobb County due to budget restraints and concerns with being able to afford certain infrastructural needs for the city. So this is effectively the second bout of incorporation for the city of Mableton. However, in modern times, this is the first time that this city has been incorporated. So with that being said, I said all that to say this: there is no true traditional downtown for Mableton, but there is almost one, which I'm going to take you to, which is off of Veterans Memorial Parkway, or is it Highway? Veterans Memorial Highway, I think it is. Just across the railroad tracks. It's kind of the unofficial city center. I don't know where they're going to put their city center. There is no, I don't even know where they're operating the city hall as of right now. I'm not 100% sure. But I'll probably research that before I move to the next portion of this video, just to kind of see if I can show you that. But I'm also going to take you through and show you a few landmarks here in Mableton. All right, so for a small little city, there's something going on with the EMS, emergency systems here, or cops or fire trucks or ambulance or something. But anyway, we're gonna go to the Mabel House complex, which is a place where it's an amphitheater. So different celebrities and artists, musicians come and they perform. Of course, you know what amphitheater is, I'm sure. So you do have one of those in the city of Mableton now, and it's fairly new. I think it came out or was finished around the same time Stockbridge got theirs, and so. But anyway, we're gonna go check that out, and we're gonna go over off of the Veterans Memorial, kind of unofficial area that kind of signifies that you're in Mableton, and then we're gonna probably wrap it up with another portion of Mableton. So that's the video, and then we're gonna get into the pros and cons. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's go. All right, everybody. So now we've made it over to, in my opinion, one of the most iconic landmarks here in Mableton to signify that you're in Mableton. One of them, okay? And I'm gonna send a drone up from this location, but this is basically, I am parked in the shopping center for a lot of the retail that's gonna be accessible to the residents here in Mableton, this portion of Mableton, which is gonna be mostly, right now we're in the center of most points. So you're kind of in the center, but the borderline for where Mableton starts from the Atlanta city line is going to be to the east of us. Probably, I would say about 10 minutes from this location, driving east towards Interstate 285. Of course, you'll see a lot more of Mableton headed in that direction. But right now, I am standing at the centermost point, and I'm going to go ahead and send up the drone so you'll get an opportunity to see Veterans Memorial Highway, it's not Parkway, Highway, and kind of see that. You'll see the traditional railroad track that you would see in most small USA towns or cities that runs through the heart of the area. So you'll get to see that up top.
Days keep flying, but that's on me. I'm so sick of wasting time. Can't you see I'm on the line? I'll keep trying to find my wings, and when
right, so we've made it to our next point of information, point of interest. I've been watching too much Eric Mays, I tell you. So Mableton, the name of the city was given by the Mabel family, okay? A lot of history in this town, or should I say city now. So you can definitely come and learn a lot about the Mabel family. They have a Mabel house, which is a preservation of the history of their family. But I'll give you a brief synopsis from what the governor, one of the ex-governors here of Georgia, Mr. Barnes, Roy Barnes, he gave this 1 minute little powwow about the history of Mableton. But essentially, surveyor that put in those railroad tracks that you saw on the drone footage just a minute ago was living with the Mabel family in the Mabel house as a guest, laying the railroads. And the surveyor was asked, apparently, what name should we call this place? And the surveyor said, well, how about Mableton? And there you have it. So that's what was passed down to me from the ex-governor. So we go, hey, listen, I was not thought about back then. So I don't know, but that's what they said. So that's what we're gonna go with. But essentially where I'm standing now is the entrance to the Mabel House complex here off of Floyd Road, which is pretty much a landmark here in the city of Mableton. I'm gonna send up the drone and show you guys. So the amphitheater is all the way back in the back there. And I'm gonna pop up the drone and so you can see what that amphitheater looks like, the size and the scope. But it's a really nice setting to where you can come and have a good time if you're into musical performances and things of that nature. And as you can see, Floyd Road behind me is quite busy. It is one of the main arteries here in Mableton. Mableton has only but about 3 main arteries here. So you have Veterans Memorial Highway, which is the #1 artery. Then you have Floyd Road, which cuts across, connecting you over to the East-West Connector, which takes you up more towards Smyrna and Marietta. And then you have Mableton Parkway that takes you on the other end of the city, that connects you up to Atlanta, that dumps you off at the Fulton County General Aviation Airport. So there you have it. And it's hot out here today. It's like 90-something degrees here in Atlanta. Yes, it gets hot here. So if you don't want to be in an area that gets hot, you may want to not consider Metro Atlanta because it gets pretty hot. But I'm going to flip the camera around and show you kind of the ticket box area, and then we're going to send up the drone. And yeah, I think that's number 2. I think I got one more area to show you, which is going to be the eastern side of Mableton, which kind of shows you the more, I guess you could say, the newer portion of the city. So yeah, you got a lot more to learn, so keep watching. Keep watching. All right, guys, so here you go. This is the box office or will call area, the entrance point to the Mabel, I think it's Mabel House Amphitheater is what it's called. But yeah, so you'll walk down those stairs, and I believe we're seeing the back of the amphitheater, but I'm gonna send up the drone so you'll see in there. And all right, yeah, so as I was saying, guys, you just walk through and go down, but we're gonna send it up and you'll be able to see kind of what that amphitheater looks like. And it's called the Mabel House Barnes Amphitheater. Okay, let's go. All right, guys, we made it to the final stop here in the city of Mableton. And what I want to show you is the boundary line of coming into Mableton. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you that. And this is gonna be the area that pretty much marks probably about another maybe half a mile down from where I'm standing. At the border of Mableton, essentially, the way they did the city limits is at the Chattahoochee River. So as you're leaving the city of Atlanta, crossing over the Chattahoochee, then you become entering into the city limits of Mableton. Also, I'm gonna show you the Walk at Legacy, which is a retail slash townhome community here. So it's that work, live concept that they tried to start here off of Discovery Boulevard. But essentially this, in my opinion, is the newest portion as far as the aesthetics from a retail and living situation. Now, there are multiple developments going on in Mableton, okay? So I wanna make that very clear, that there are multiple developments that are going on, and I'm gonna show you those developments because you're gonna hit the subscribe button and you're gonna become a part of the family, and you're gonna go on this journey with me of learning more about the city of Mableton. But there are multiple townhome communities, single family detached communities that are in construction right now in the city of Mableton. But as far as the reason I'm coming here is to show you the boundary limits, as well as to show you this another retail opportunity. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you that, and then we're gonna head and do the pros and cons section. And then the next video that we do will be a real estate tour showing you what you can get under $500,000 here in city of Mableton. So definitely hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with all of the content regarding living in Mableton, Georgia. All right, so there you have it. This is one of the major intersections here in the city of Mableton that signifies that you're in Mableton. So in this direction straight down, you'll get to State 285 as well as the Chattahoochee River. And again, that's gonna mark the border or the entry point for the city of Mableton, okay? So as you're coming into the city, you'll be on that 4-lane highway, and then you'll see the Walk at Legacy, which is this huge shopping opportunity here. It's not dense commercial, okay? These are small, smaller service or restaurants or retail, okay? So it's not a huge place. But let me get you up here to show you what's all in here, and then kind of just give you a little bit closer view. All right, guys, so as we're getting closer, you can get to see what's all in here. So there's two food restaurants, it looks like, right at the top. Muya and Cafe Social House. So you see you got the UPS, Farmers Insurance, you know, smaller service locations, right? So there you go. But again, you see this, so aesthetically very pleasing on this end of the city when you're coming into it. It gives you that more modern, more, you know, feel of a decent place. You got the townhomes up top with your retail at the bottom. On the flip side of this is the community, the John Whelan community, that the townhome owners, that's how they enter their units, okay? So as you can see, that's what we got out here. And this is what it looks like up close, okay? So this portion of the city of Mableton is very aesthetically appeasing. However, as I will say further in the video, one of the drawbacks of Mableton as it stands right now is the fact that it has been unincorporated for so long. The consistency lacks. But in my opinion, I would say, based on the city council makeup, based on the median age makeup, I'd say you'll see more developments to resemble this than you would see any other concept. I do think that the city council and the residents of Mableton see the city as more progressive than the older portions, right? And the opportunity really abounds here for the city. So, looks like there was another restaurant. I don't know if they're still open, but it says Jamaican Jerk Biz. Okay. And so this is the entrance point to where the residents would come from the interior of the community behind, which is a gated community. They'll come down and they can get into all of the shopping stuff here. So it was a master plan community. Looks like a nice restaurant here, Jamaican Jerk Biz. Super nice. I've never been here before, but it's got a nice vibe going on to it. Not even sure if they're open yet. Okay. Oh, well, it's now open. There you go. Answers that question. Look what they got here. So drink, dine, hookah, and vibe. All right. Free shout out. All right. So here we got here, self-care boutique. A lot of, like I said, smaller service industries or businesses, service businesses that are in here. But again, guys, this marks the beginning point for the city of Mableton. So, and one of the things, I don't want to get ahead of myself because you guys got to listen for the pros and cons. But I'm gonna say this: one of the things, as I walk to my car, one of the things that really gives me hope about the city of Mableton is its proximity to Smyrna and Vinings. If done right, and I'm gonna link a video. I'm gonna link a video of the inaugural or the swearing in of the mayor and the city council. Okay, so if you are interested to see who are the leaders of this newly found city, you can definitely go and watch it. It's like an hour and 15 minutes or hour and 20. Of course, I watched all of it. But the ex-governor of Georgia, Roy Barnes, said it very plainly. And he said, if the politicians and the leaders of the city have common sense, then this city shall become probably one of the best cities in Cobb County. So time will tell. Time will tell. With the new city, it's always, the microscope effect. Everybody is watching it. Everybody is hoping on bated breath that the city will turn out the way all of the aspirations have, perceived it to become, right? But as I said, I agree with the governor. If competence is led, if the leaders lead with competence and common sense and listen to the people, Mableton will be probably one of the most profound cities in Cobb County. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump over to the pros and cons of living here in Mableton. All right, guys, you've made it to the pros and cons section of living in Mableton. I know you probably thought you would never make it to this section because I am long-winded. I know probably why I have a YouTube channel and I can express my thoughts here on the channel. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the pros and cons of living in Mableton, Georgia. We're gonna start out with the pros, so let's go. The first pro on my list is that Mableton is now the largest city in Cobb County. What does that mean to you as a potential resident? Well, it could mean that you're gonna get some benefit of being the largest city in the county, where the county is gonna have more support for the city being the largest. Also, when it comes to budgeting and financial contributions from the county, I'd suspect that Mableton should be high on the list, with the population being the largest populated city in the county. So great future benefit from the county involvement as the city start to take shape and grow. All right, moving on to pro number two. Pro number two is somewhat of a segue from the first pro, which is going to be a bright future, but a great sense of community pride in Mableton. Most people that you know that grew up in Mableton or that is from Mableton are very proud to say where they are from. Especially those alumni of certain schools in the area. They will gladly tell you where they are from. And so I think that contributes to the overwhelming sense of community pride. And I think that that's something that could potentially be the differentiator, or not necessarily a differentiator, but a great catalyst to continue to grow the city based on that sense of pride. If the government and city council is aware, they should be, because they should all have that same pride. That's why they put their hat in the ring to be a public official for the city. But nonetheless, I do think that there is an enormous amount of community pride. So if you're looking for an area that has that community pride, where people are proud to be from a certain area, then you should definitely investigate or look into Mableton, Georgia a little bit more. Go and visit and see if it's a city that maybe you like. All right, moving on to pro number 3. All right, pro number 3 on my list is going to be definitely a good pro in my opinion. Public transportation is accessible living in Mableton. One of the drawbacks of many suburban cities here in Metro Atlanta is the fact that the public transportation system is not profound or in existence at all. Living in Mableton, you will have access to the Cobb Link Transit public system. I believe it's used to be Cobb County Transit. I think they rebranded it as the Link. Don't know if there's a big difference between the two. So essentially, living in Cobb County, you will have access to that public transportation to be able to commute in a different format, especially if you are maybe, say, living in Mableton and working in Marietta. Perfect. And I believe that the transit systems feed into, I believe, MARTA in some form of way, but you may want to do your due diligence in that respect to see. Most of the time, they do feed into like a MARTA transit station. But this could not be the case. So you just want to investigate more just to see if it's exclusively to Cobb County or if it feeds into the MARTA system, which is largely Atlanta based and moving people around Atlanta. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our pro number 4. And pro number 4 is going to be the fact that it is conveniently located in Metro Atlanta, meaning the location of the city is just so profound because you can pretty much get anywhere in like 20-25 minutes on average without traffic. So living in Mableton, you can get to the airport in about 25 minutes to 30 minutes max, just depending on how you drive. Downtown, same distance. And so that makes for a very convenient living situation, especially if you are going to be commuting here in Metro Atlanta and you want to be in a central location from the start, right? Because that's so important. So when you do a lot of commuting, trying to be central is the best approach to deciding where you should maybe pick if you're gonna have a job. Say for instance, if you are a realtor like myself, I go all over Metro Atlanta, right? So for me, it would be more advantageous to be in a central location. So that way, if I'm going north, south, east, or west, it levels the playing field on my commute time. So if you're like me and you drive for a living or drive a lot, then maybe thinking about that centralized location would be beneficial. And Mableton definitely checks that box. Also, Mableton has access to just about every major interstate we have here in Metro Atlanta. It sits right off of Interstate 285 and Interstate 20. So you can go either way. Interstate 285 is our bypass or our perimeter interstate. And essentially it connects to every single interstate we have here in Metro Atlanta. So living on Interstate 285 gives you a great level of access to 75, 85, Interstate 20 as well. So very, very great and convenient location within Metro Atlanta. Now, where there is good, there is bad. So let's talk about some of the cons of living in Mableton, Georgia. All right, the first con on my list is gonna be that Mableton, Georgia has limited big box brands in the city limits of Mableton, all right? So just to give you some background history, Mableton has always been a town in the minds of metropolitan Atlanteans, right? People that live in metropolitan Atlanta, have always viewed Mableton as this small little place, okay? It's never been a huge market, if you will. So with that being said, big businesses and big brands have also, I believe, looked at Mableton in that way as well. For instance, you do not have a major brand name like big box brands in the city limits of Mableton. I have not bared this out completely, and I'm going right off the script. I believe that Mableton does not have a Walmart in the city limits of Mableton. Now, very, very close, probably to where you don't even feel that you're not in Mableton, but it's not in the city limits. Same like Best Buy or Macy's or, those big box brand names, you're not gonna find them in the city limits, okay? So if you're looking for a place that you can really get to these places really, really convenient, like in 2-3 minutes, like down the street, type deal, Mableton is not going to connect you to a lot of big box brand names. Now, you'll have things like your everyday shopping, like Dollar General, Ollie's, more smaller, brands of that nature, affordable price points, etc. So those are the brands that you'll have access to. So that's, in my opinion, a little bit of a con. But again, guys, it is super close to just about everything. Because of that convenient location, you still can get to those places, but it's just not going to be in the city limits of Mableton. Okay? So now let's move on to con number 2. Con number 2, in my opinion, is going to be very subjective, but this is just, I believe it lacks consistency because it has always been a town feel without a city government, right? Mableton has never had a city government since like 1900s or something that the governor said in his spiel, right? So early 1900s. After that period of time, there was no city government that was responsible for the planning and developing of this place, right? So it was all in the hands of the county. And a county, if you know anything about Georgia, county government is definitely almost like grab a number in the line and wait. Like, they're very hands off. The county really don't want to have that day-to-day organization or responsibility of governing, right? It's a more so of an oversight type of entity. They oversee the cities and they support the cities, but the county is not a city. So therefore, a lot of those like planning and zoning, they're not going to take it, in my opinion, as restrictive with the long shot in mind, right? Like, where we going long term. The county isn't going to plan the city out in that way, okay? If anything, unincorporated areas see essentially the planning and zoning becomes non-priority for unincorporated areas. Really, that's where the county pushes a lot of those type of businesses or industries that the cities don't want to see. That's where they put them, in the unincorporated areas, right? So with that being said, it lacks the consistency of a beautiful city through and through. All right. Now, will that change over time? I would say probably yes. But you're not going to see it in the short term. You're going to see it in the long term. It's the long game versus the short game when it comes to Mableton. So that's just my opinion. All right. Anyway, again, guys, these pros and cons are just to give you some insight. Do not allow these to make or break your decision. Put your feet on the ground. Go and visit the beautiful city of Mableton, Georgia. Experience it for yourself to figure out if it may be a place that interests you and has the needs that your family or yourself want. All right. So essentially, that's it. If you're thinking about moving to Mableton, Georgia, feel free to reach out to me. All of my contact information is on the screen. I can work with you as a buyer or a seller in Mableton, Georgia to help you realize your real estate goals. So feel free to reach out to me. Mableton has a very special place in my heart. It has been one of those places that I have visited and frequent as a growing young adult throughout the city or the metropolitan area of Atlanta. So definitely go and visit it. And if you're thinking about moving there, feel free to reach out to me. And also hit the like button to the video. If you got any value, if you learned anything new about the city of Mableton, Georgia, hit the like button and drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. And if you are from Mableton, chime in below. Let's have a conversation. Share with the people that are watching, the viewers, what your pros and cons are of Mableton, Georgia, what you liked and what you did not like, what you dislike, whatever. Chime it in down below. Let's have a conversation. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And also be sure to check out the next video, which will be the real estate tour for Mableton. I'm going to take you through 3 different price points. We're going to look at, I think, 4 different houses, and you're going to be able to see real estate value proposition in Mableton for yourself. So yeah, you don't want to miss it. So hit the subscribe button right now. 80% of y'all that are watching this video right now are not subscribers, but you're frequent viewers. Let's change that. Become a subscriber and help the channel reach more individuals, okay? Just like yourself, that's looking to learn, right? And the whole purpose of my channel is to provide value. So I'm hoping I'm doing that each and every video upload, that you're learning something new about the beautiful area of Metro Atlanta. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.